Welcome back to Elusive Escapes, where we take you beyond the typical tourist trails. Today we're in the Cotswolds, England's picture-perfect countryside with rolling hills, honey-colored cottages, and charming villages straight out of a storybook. But today we are also exploring some places beyond the postcard views. However, we will start our journey in the classic villages of the Cotswolds. To kick off our journey through the Cotswolds' most beautiful and lesser-known spots, let's start with what the region is best known for, its villages. But we're not just talking about pretty houses and quiet streets. This is where the English countryside comes alive with character, charm, and that honeystone warmth you've probably seen on a million postcards. The real magic, though, it's being there in person, walking through it all. First up, you've got Bibury, probably one of the most photographed villages in the country thanks to its row of 14th century weavers' cottages known as Arlington Row. It's like stepping into a painting. Just be prepared to share the view with a few camera-toting visitors, especially in peak season. Then there's Bourton-on-the-Water, often called the Venice of the Cotswolds. And once you see the little bridges arching over the river Windrush, you'll understand why. It's lively, family-friendly, and full of spots to grab ice cream or feed the ducks. If you're into older world vibes, Stow-on-the-Wold brings that with its ancient market square and crooked stone buildings that have seen a few centuries roll by. And if you're into something more artistic, Broadway's wide high street is lined with galleries and boutique shops, perfect for a slow afternoon of browsing and cafe hopping. It even has its own tower, Broadway Tower, where you can climb up and catch an incredible view across the rolling hills. If you want that picture-perfect experience without the crowd, try heading just a little off the beaten path. Blockley, Naunton, Paxford, and Ebrington are quieter spots that still deliver all the Cotswolds charm. Think winding lanes, stone cottages, and local pubs where time seems to slow down. You can stop for a cream tea, have a stroll through peaceful village greens, and actually hear the birds sing without someone yelling cheese for a photo. After soaking up the charm of these villages, it's time for something a little different. If you love gardens, then you won't want to miss this next place, where King Charles's passion for sustainable gardening comes to life. Highgrove House Gardens. Just outside the market town of Tetbury, you'll find Highgrove Gardens, a place that blends regal tradition with down-to-earth love for nature. This isn't your average manicured estate. For over 4 decades, King Charles has been hands-on in shaping these gardens, and it shows. Every corner feels like it was designed with purpose, patience, and a deep respect for the planet. The Highgrove is more than just pretty flowers and tidy hedges, although you'll definitely find those too. What makes it stand out is the way sustainability is at the heart of everything, from wildflower meadows buzzing with bees to carefully tended vegetable beds and clever composting methods. This place doubles as a masterclass in eco-friendly gardening. You're not just visiting a garden, you're stepping into the king's personal green experiment. One of the highlights is something called the Stumpery. It's exactly what it sounds like, a slightly magical looking area filled with old tree stumps turned upside down and covered in ferns. It's inspired by a Victorian garden trend and honestly feels like you've walked into a woodland from a fantasy novel. Add to that winding paths, sculpted topiary, and bird-friendly habitats, and you've got the kind of peaceful, meaningful garden experience that sticks with you. Now, you can't just rock up to the gate and stroll in. This is still a royal residence after all. Visits are only possible through pre-booked guided tours, which run on selected dates between April and September. And yes, you'll need photo ID to enter. Passports, driving licenses, or even a bus pass will do. Don't forget your comfy shoes either. Paths can be uneven, especially after rain, and you'll be covering a fair bit of ground. The tour finishes in the orchard room, where you can sit down for a bite to eat or a warm drink. No need to book a table. Just take a seat, sip something cozy, and let the garden sink in a bit more. As for photos, phones and cameras are only allowed in certain parts of the garden, and staff will explain everything at the start. Now that we've admired some royal gardening skills, let's head into one of the most magical tree-filled landscapes in the Cotswolds, Westonbirt Arboretum. Westonbirt Arboretum is a full-on enchanted woodland experience, and if you're the kind of person who secretly wishes trees could talk, you're gonna feel very at home here. Spread out over 600 acres, Westonbirt is home to over 15,000 trees and shrubs, some local, some from halfway around the globe, and all planted with the kind of care that turns a forest into a living work of art. The Arboretum was started back in the 1850s by Robert Holford, and unlike many botanical collections that go for scientific order, this one was laid out for pure beauty. The place is split into two main sections: the old arboretum, which feels more manicured and elegant, and silk wood, which has more of a wild, let's get lost for a bit kind of energy. If you've got kids or you just like your nature with a touch of whimsy, this is where you want to head. One minute you're walking past towering oaks, the next you're under a maple that's turning the path beneath your feet bright red in autumn. It's basically nature showing off. Westonbirt runs events and workshops throughout the year. Think tree planting days, craft classes, and even spoon carving if that's your thing. If you're lucky enough to be there in November or December, don't miss the Enchanted Christmas Trail. They light up the woods with colors and installations, and it turns the whole place into something out of a fairy tale. Total winter magic. The Arboretum is open daily from 9 a.m., closing around 4:30 p.m. depending on the season, and it's only closed on Christmas Day. Ticket prices are going up on weekends and during peak autumn dates, which makes sense because that's when the colors are unreal. Under fours go free, and if you've got mobility concerns, the main paths are wheelchair and scooter accessible. If you want to see another impressive tree collection, Batsford Arboretum is just a 40-minute drive away and is worth checking out too. But now, let's explore something completely different. A house that inspired one of England's most famous artists, William Morris. Kelmscott Manor. If you've ever wanted to walk through a house that actually feels like a piece of art, then make your way to Kelmscott Manor. Tucked away near the peaceful village of Lechlade, this place isn't just another pretty old building. It's the former summer retreat of William Morris, one of the most influential artists and designers of the 19th century. He described it as heaven on earth, and honestly, he might have been underselling it a bit. Kelmscott Manor has this lovely, quiet presence. From the moment you see the honeystone walls and the surrounding gardens, you'll get why Morris fell in love with it. Inside, the rooms have been beautifully preserved, not in a roped off, do not touch kind of way, but more like stepping into someone's actual lived-in dream. Every corner is filled with handcrafted furniture, richly patterned textiles, and books that belong to Morris himself. It's cozy, elegant, and deeply personal. You'll also come across pieces by the people closest to him, including his wife Jane and daughter May, whose embroidery and design work are displayed throughout the manor. And if you're into pre-Raphaelite art, there's a famous portrait of Jane Morris hanging upstairs in the White Room that'll stop you in your tracks. But it's not just what's inside that makes this place special. The gardens have a timeless English charm, with flower beds that spill over onto gravel paths and views of the nearby River Thames. Just a short stroll from the manor, you'll also find the little 12th century church where Morris and his family are buried. It's peaceful, atmospheric, and definitely worth a moment of quiet. Kelmscott Manor is open from April to October, Thursdays through Saturdays, and you'll want to book ahead. Tickets can go quickly, especially on sunny weekends. Adult tickets are reasonably priced, and there are family passes and concessions available. The ticket also acts as an annual pass, so if you end up loving it, and you probably will, you can come back as many times as you want over the year. Parking is in a designated area, a short walk from the manor, keeping the grounds quiet and traffic-free. It's a gentle stroll through the village to reach the house, and honestly, the walk itself adds to the charm. Next up, we're sticking with that sense of stillness, but heading to a spot where nature takes the lead again, in a place that's perfect for quiet walks, camera clicks, and a breath of fresh air. Broadway Tower. Sitting on one of the highest hills in the Cotswolds, Broadway Tower looks like a fairy tale castle, but has the history of a Swiss Army knife. It's done a little bit of everything over the centuries. Whether you're into sweeping countryside views, Cold War bunkers, or just want a cracking spot for a picnic, this one checks all the boxes. Perched 312 meters above sea level on Beacon Hill, Broadway Tower isn't just a pretty face. It was designed in the late 1700s by architect James Wyatt with landscape legend capability Brown behind the vision. The original idea? To see if a beacon could be spotted from 22 miles away. Spoiler alert, it could. Since then, this curious little tower has played many roles. Artist retreat, printing press, war lookout point, and now a museum that packs more stories than you'd expect from a building that doesn't even pretend to be useful. Climb to the top and you'll be rewarded with views that stretch across up to 16 counties on a clear day. That's England in 360 degrees. You'll also get to explore the inside of the tower. 3 compact floors packed with exhibits that dive into the tower's artistic roots, wartime duties, and unexpected unexpected roles over the years. If you're into quirky history, don't miss the underground Cold War bunker nearby. Tours run regularly, and it's both fascinating and a little eerie, in the best way. The area around the tower is perfect for walkers too. Broadway Tower is part of the Cotswold Way, a national trail that runs from Chipping Campden all the way to Bath. You can approach it from several paths, but a favorite route starts from Fish Hill, a scenic 20-minute walk that winds through rolling fields and sheep-filled pastures. It's the kind of hike where every step feels like a desktop background. And don't worry, there's food. Right at the base of the tower is the Morris and Brown Cafe and Shop, ideal for grabbing a coffee or something sweet. For more of a sit-down option, the Tower Barn offers lunches, espresso, and a bit of boutique browsing. On weekends and bank holidays, the Shepherd's Hut also opens for quick snacks and takeaway drinks, perfect for mid-walk refueling. Entry to the tower and park isn't free, so budget a little for tickets. Now that we've taken in panoramic views from Broadway Tower, let's rewind a couple thousand years, because long before the Cotswolds became the countryside playground for modern-day walkers and antique hunters, it was prime Roman real estate. And if you're curious about just how luxuriously the Romans lived, this next place is where history really comes alive, mosaics and all. Chedworth Roman Villa. Tucked into a peaceful valley near Cirencester, this isn't just some ruined pile of bricks with a sign out front. Chedworth is one of the most impressive Roman villa sites in Britain, complete with bathhouses, underfloor heating, and beautifully preserved mosaic floors you can still see in their original setting. The National Trust has done an incredible job here, building elevated walkways that let you admire the ancient designs without disturbing them. But here's what makes it even cooler. Chedworth is still an active dig site. Archaeologists continue to make new discoveries, so the story of the villa is always evolving. Inside the small but fascinating museum, you can check out artifacts found on site, pottery, jewelry, coins, even offerings to the water goddess that were left at the nearby Nymphaeum. And just in case you were wondering, that ancient water shrine is still flowing today. You can visit Chedworth most of the year, and if you're lucky enough to be there on a Monday between March and October, you can join a free guided tour. It's a great way to hear all the juicy Roman gossip, like who might have owned the villa and why it was such a fancy place for its time. Admission isn't free, but it's totally worth it, especially if you're into history or just want to see something different from the usual castles and cottages. Getting there is pretty straightforward by car, about a 25-minute drive from Cirencester, and there's parking on site. If you're feeling more adventurous, cycling through the area is a great way to soak in that timeless countryside vibe. And yes, there's a tea room and picnic benches, so you can make a day of it. After stepping back in time, let's switch things up and visit a castle that has seen some of England's most famous royals, Sudeley Castle. Nestled just outside the market town of Winchcombe, this place is more than just a castle with pretty gardens. It's got over 1,000 years of serious history, including some very familiar names. We're talking Richard III, Elizabeth I, Anne Boleyn, and most notably Catherine Parr, Henry VIII's sixth and final wife, who lived and died here and is still buried on the grounds. Yep, Sudeley is the only private castle in England with a queen buried in its chapel. St. Mary's Church, sitting peacefully within the estate, is where you'll find her tomb, surrounded by a garden of white flowers in a space fittingly named the White Garden. It's quiet, it's moving, and it's one of the most unique stops in the entire region. Now, Sudeley has not one, not two, but 10 stunning gardens, each with its own design, story, and vibe. There's the Queen's Garden, named after 4 Tudor queens who once walked these grounds. Then there's the Knot Garden, patterned after one of Elizabeth I's gowns. Yes, really. And if you like your gardens with a touch of mystery, there's even a secret garden and a ruins garden, framed by the remains of the old banqueting hall. You can visit Sudeley from April through the end of October. It's open daily, and it usually takes about half a day to explore everything without rushing. It's super easy to reach by car from Cheltenham. Just follow the A40 and B 4632 and you'll find signs guiding you in. Parking is available on site, and if you're lucky with the weather, the whole estate is picnic worthy from every angle. And here's a fun bonus: you can actually stay overnight. Sudeley offers charming cottage accommodation right on the estate, straight out of a Jane Austen film. Each cottage booking comes with free access to the castle too, so you can wake up, sip your tea, and stroll into a royal estate like it's no big deal. Now that we've soaked in some royal history, let's jump aboard a classic steam train for a nostalgic journey through the Cotswolds. Gloucestershire-Warwickshire Railway. The Gloucestershire-Warwickshire Railway, or GWSR for short, is basically a moving slice of history. And the best part, it's not just for train enthusiasts. Whether you're traveling with kids, grandparents, or just your inner child, this one's got something for everyone. This heritage railway stretches across 14 glorious miles between Broadway and Cheltenham, and every single inch of it is run by passionate volunteers who've poured decades into restoring the line. Once you're seated inside one of the polished vintage carriages, you'll feel like you've been transported into a classic British film. As the train slowly chugs along the original Great Western Railway route, expect sweeping views of the Malvern Hills on one side and rolling Cotswold countryside on the other. You'll pass by stone villages, grazing sheep, and the kind of landscapes that feel like they've been untouched for centuries. If you time your visit right, you can hop on one of their themed journeys, like the ever-popular afternoon tea ride, where you can sip on hot drinks and munch on scones while the countryside gently rolls by outside your window. And if you've ever secretly dreamt of being a train driver, they even offer driver experience days, where you can learn how to operate a steam locomotive yourself. The railway operates mainly on weekends and selected weekdays from March to October, with additional special events around the holidays, including Santa specials in December and fish and chip supper evenings. You can board from any of their stations: Broadway, Toddington, Winchcombe, Hales Abbey Halt, Gotherington, or Cheltenham Racecourse. If you're driving, you'll find free parking at Toddington, Winchcombe, and Cheltenham Racecourse stations. Facilities vary by station, but Toddington is the main hub, and it has a kids' play area, a small museum, a gift shop, and a lovely cafe called the Flag and Whistle. After the romance of a steam train journey, next we are going to visit a local distillery that's putting English whiskey on the map, literally. Cotswolds Distillery. You don't have to be a whiskey aficionado to appreciate what's happening here. This place blends scenic countryside charm with a whole lot of craftsmanship and a splash of bold ambition. Founded by a former finance guy who traded spreadsheets for stills, this distillery isn't just about producing great whiskey, it's about doing it properly, with heart and with flavor. Everything starts local, the barley is grown right in the Cotswolds, and they don't rush the process. Their Cotswolds single malt whiskey has already earned a loyal fan base, but if you're more into gin, liqueurs, or just curious about how spirits are made, this place has something for you too. One of the best ways to enjoy your visit is by joining their guided tasting tour. It comes at a price, but takes you through the entire process, from mash to cask to glass, with plenty of samples along the way. And if you're the type who likes getting hands-on, they offer gin and whiskey blending master classes where you can walk away with a bottle of your very own creation. Just make sure to book ahead, especially in peak season when spots fill up fast. The distillery isn't set up in a tourist-packed village, so the drive-in feels like an adventure through country lanes and quiet fields. A bonus in itself. Once you arrive, you'll find not only the production site, but also a lovely little cafe, open fires in the colder months, and walking trails right from the doorstep that take you out into the hills. It's the kind of place where you can slow down, sip something special, and take in the view. Now that we've enjoyed a sip of locally made whiskey, let's end up this journey with one of the most famous long-distance walks in England, the Cotswold Way. This is 102 miles of picture-perfect stretching all the way from Chipping-Campden in the north to the city of Bath in the south. But don't let the length scare you. You don't have to walk the whole thing unless you want to. Whether you're after a day stroll or planning a full-on hiking holiday, there are tons of flexible ways to enjoy it. The beauty of the Cotswold Way is how much it gives without asking much back. You'll pass through peaceful beach woodlands, flower-filled meadows, and sleepy villages where time seems to slow down. Every few miles offers something different. Maybe you'll catch the sweeping views from Broadway Tower, explore the ancient ruins of an Iron Age hill fort, or wander into the quiet streets of Painswick, known affectionately as the Queen of the Cotswolds. And for those with a literary side, a stop in Stroud brings you closer to the footsteps of poet Laurie Lee, who captured the region so vividly in Cider with Rosie. For those who want a more relaxed experience, there are plenty of companies that'll sort your accommodation, move your bags each day, and even provide maps or guides. That way you can focus purely on enjoying the walk without lugging around your life in a backpack. The best part, the route is free to access year-round, and it's a great way to really connect with the heart of the Cotswolds. You'll pass through farmland, alongside sheep-studded hills, past churches that date back centuries, and through villages where you can stop for a pint or a cream tea without even stepping off the trail. And that were the top 10 must-see and hidden spots in the Cotswolds. If you're planning a trip, make sure to explore some of these these lesser known gems to experience the real magic of the Cotswolds. And if you've already been, let us know, what was your favorite place? Drop a comment, hit like, and don't forget to subscribe for more travel adventures. Until next time, happy exploring!